So I gotta ask, Aaron, what do you want to do with this one?
I want to take every copy and launch it into the sun.
It's like the super truck. Like, just put it on a SpaceX rocket and it'll explode halfway there. You're fine.
I never want to speak of this movie ever again.
You're back.
Welcome to Cinematics Problematics, where we celebrate your guilty pleasures. I'm Chrissy Reddig.
And I am Erin Maxwell. And today we are watching a film that is the perfect example of a film that should never, ever, ever been made, or could never be made today, and should never, ever be made again. And that film is Pretty Baby, which is a period drama that is set in 1917 Storyville, New Orleans, that follows a 12-year-old girl named Violet, played by Brooke Shields, when she was only 11 years old. This film is about a young girl who is being raised in a brothel, and about a photographer named Bellocq, played by Keith Carradine, who becomes fascinated with her. The film then drifts into a deeply uncomfortable territory as the adults that surround her treat her situation as either quaint, tragic, or sometimes poetic, as she's forced into sexualized situations. Based on the book Storyville, New Orleans by Al Rose, Pretty Baby was directed by Louis Malle and originally marketed as a Artville European cinema. However, the film's handling of its subject matter, particularly Brooke Shields herself, has since become deeply controversial, with many modern viewers questioning the ethics of how the story and its young performers were handled. And today we're going to be tackling it. Chrissy, when was the first time you saw Pretty Baby?
Oh, dear Lord, you're already exhausted. I'm so sorry. Like, this film took the wind out of our friend Aaron. So, okay, I have very vague recollections of seeing this film, and I think it was on cable, And I think it was, I think at the time everybody was kind of fascinated with like this beautiful child, Brooke Shields, right? And I was a very young child myself when I first saw it. And the only thing I remember about it, I remember certain images from it, not all of the images, we'll get to that. Some of them were quite shocking on rewatch, like where I literally, and I use the term literally figuratively a lot, but I mean it literally this time. Like I literally screamed out loud because I was horrified. But yeah, like I remember the feeling of just being weirded out and not being able to put my finger on it because I was so young. I must have been, I don't know, 7 or 8 when I saw it. And at the time, I think like the thing about the film was that nobody thought of it as child exploitation. Like a lot of the critical reviews didn't even really go that far. Even like my fave, Roger Ebert, had great things to say about it, which confuses me. But yeah, it left me feeling very strange and not comfortable. And I don't think I ever watched it again because of that. So yeah, I have like this blurred memory of it. But what sat with me was just like this feeling of like, there's something really wrong about this. And I don't know exactly what it is because I was just too young to interpret it, which is funny given the fact that Brooke Shields was placed into this situation not being able to fully realize the implications of it herself when she was that young. So that was like my first impression of the film. And I hadn't watched it since until a couple of days ago on rewatch. So Aaron, what about you?
I saw this film bits and pieces and did not care for it as a kid. There was something off about it. And for whatever reason, I was just turned off by it.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you why.
Yep.
Just couldn't tell you why. And then as an adult, had the same reaction. Mm-hmm. Now, many years later, I can tell you what that reaction is. It was creepy. This film hit me like a gut punch because even as a small child, I knew that this was a film that you shouldn't see. We see an 11-year-old child fully naked. Mm-hmm. I understand she is wearing a see-through G-string throughout some of the scenes. That is not enough.
Being see-through.
It is very, she is very sexualized throughout the film. It made me uncomfortable as a child. It made me uncomfortable as a teenager. And it makes me uncomfortable as an adult woman. Mm-hmm. this film, as an adult, so as a movie lover, one movies that I tend to enjoy, I like films that make me feel uncomfortable. I know that's weird,
Yeah,
but
no shit.
yeah, I do. Like
You're
before
like the
this
queen of
podcast started, I
uncomfortable
was
films.
explaining the plot of Salo to Chrissy, and I was like, "Listen, I'm going to tell you about Salo,
Tell
but
everybody
no,
about Salo for the people who don't know.
listen, Salo's not a film that I'm like, hey, everybody, let's go rent Salo and have a grand old time. You don't do that. You don't do that. It's like Salo 120 Days of Sodom. You don't go out and have a grand old time, but you admire the achievement that it was able to the film achievement that it is,
Hmm.
but you don't like go out and watch it often. I enjoy that movie far more than I enjoy Pretty Baby because Pretty Baby put something on film that felt to me was like it's like watching a movie version of the Epstein Files.
Yes.
It is awful, it is terrible, and it falls between the cracks of where it wants to be an art film, but it's not an art film, and it wants to be a sexploitation film, and it's not a sexploitation film. It's not fun, and it's not funny, and there's nothing good here, and there's no humanity to it.
Well, here's the thing. I would actually disagree with you that this is not a sexploitation film. I think it's totally a sexploitation film.
I mean,
I think that any if nothing else, this film is a sexual
it
exploitation film.
exploits. It absolutely exploits people. But when I mean sexploitation, I mean like if part of the film genre of the 70s, where it was kind of like that film 1970s rom-com, where it was just kind of like, let's all break into the girls' dorm and do a panty raid
Jeez.
kind of thing.
Yeah, in that context, yes, you're right. And it's such an odd movie too because it was marketed as like this art house thing, but I feel like it's just like an excuse, you know? Like it was like the excuse that they had to put a naked 12-year-old on film. And at the end of the day, I'm left with the question of why did you fucking show me this? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of this film? Like, it's so confusing. Like, tonally, it's really confusing. I think that the way it ends, which we'll get to, is very confusing. And I don't know. Like, there were certain parts where I think that you and I are programmed to try to give films the benefit of the doubt when we can, right? It's like it's art after all. Like we're very forgiving. We're more
Yeah,
forgiving
and
than most
again,
people are
I don't
of
need
films.
I don't need a film to have a plot either. I'm cool with just
Right.
hanging out with a film, like
Right.
Slackers.
Yeah, or like Pulp Fiction. It's just like the dialogue was incredible and you want to follow these characters around not because you necessarily like them, but because they're just very intriguing people, you know?
Yeah,
And so and if you ask me to describe a plot, like an inciting incident, the all is lost moment or whatever of Pulp Fiction, I can't tell you what that is. And it doesn't
listen,
matter because it's so entertaining.
I can hang out with a film if it's got a vibe, like
Yeah.
Skinamarink. I can hang out with a film if it's just got like if you're just like chilling with it, like Dazed and Confused.
Hmm.
It doesn't need to have like conventional things like motivation and characters and shit like that. Whatever a movie wants to do, take me there as long as you're doing something interesting.
Right.
This movie just wanted to kick me in the stomach repeatedly.
Oh yeah, no, it does that all the time. I mean, and I think that like one of like the most unsettling parts of it is the depiction of Violet. Like so, Brooke Shields' character, right? She is this girl who has grown up in a brothel. Her mother is played by Susan Sarandon, whose name is Hattie. And the thing is that she's almost like looking forward to becoming a prostitute. She's like, I know all the stuff. I've watched it enough times. I've heard you women talk about it enough. You don't need to give me advice. I know exactly what I'm doing. And she throws herself into it, like head first, And if this were a film about a child prostitute that, like, where the girl, like, didn't quite understand, like, we could tell she didn't quite understand the heaviness of the world that she lives in and any discomfort around that. I mean, most 11-year-olds would feel deeply uncomfortable with grown men being thrown at them, And there's none of that here. Like she's very comfortable with it. And she almost invites it. And it's just like it's so hard to reconcile that stuff like as you're watching it. So anyways, do you want to say anything else before we get to the crimes and we go into detail about the crimes of this film?
Yeah, I wrote it down a couple positive things because before I completely destroyed this movie in every facet of its being, I wanted to say a couple positive things about it.
Ooh, I wonder if we have the same list. I have a list too.
Oh, you have a list of positive things?
I do.
Okay, so we both knew what we were walking into.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Uh-huh.
It's like, yeah. I'm like, so the first thing I said is like, listen, visually, it was really cool.
Visually incredible, below the line, top to bottom, production design, hairstyling, makeup, cinematography.
They did their best, like historically accurate. Everything looked worn in. It looked great.
Mm-hmm.
The production design was gorgeous. It looked meticulously recreated for the time. It looked like they put a lot of effort into trying to recreate Storyville.
Mm-hmm.
It had this kind of dreamy, kind of pointed look to it.
Mm-hmm.
They did a great job with the costumes. They did a great job with the hair. They did a great job of just kind of creating this like lavish but slightly worn look to the film.
Mm-hmm.
Very well
Beautiful.
done.
Aesthetically, it's gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was based on real life early work of a photographer named E.J. Bellocq. Real guy.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he famously photographed prostitutes in Storyville.
How on the nose.
Yes. He used a muted color palette that the movie tried to emulate.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like that sepia tone.
Mm-hmm.
And so this movie at least was able to preserve his story and the story of the sex workers that he tried to do their best to tell their story through his photographs.
Right.
So again,
So I will also say one other thing. Like the performances aren't bad.
no.
With what they have to work with. Like the performances are actually quite. Brooke Shields is incredible in it with the role that they gave her. Right. Susan Sarandon's incredible. She's always incredible.
Yeah.
And Keith Carradine is properly creepy in this film.
And the supporting cast is really good. You had Antonio Fargas, who is the piano playing professor,
Yes.
and he was also in Foxy Brown, and he did a lot of blaxploitation films. Garrett Graham, who plays the drunk boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
he played Beef in Phantom of the Paradise,
Okay.
which I have a poster of in my living room because it is a remarkable film.
Why am I not surprised?
The blonde sex worker, her name was Frida.
She played Christine.
That was Christina. Yes,
Yeah, Christina
Mommy
in
Dearest.
Mommy Dearest. Yes.
Yes.
I was like, where do I know her from? I was like, I picture her
It took me
freaking
forever.
out.
I was like,
Picture her
oh,
freaking
God.
out and being really melodramatic about something. And then I was like, it's Mommy Dearest.
You look like you get melodramatic over steak.
Yes. Very. Oh my God, I want to watch that movie so bad. Okay. And then also Frances Faye as Madame Nell.
Yes.
Awesome. Fantastic. Great, broken down, drug addicted, alcoholic madam of the brothel. So great. So below the line is great. Costume, production design, hair, makeup, cinematography, everything looks incredible. The actors that they got were great. Like there's not bad acting in it, really. It's just the
subject matter.
The subject matter and how they treated it was
And
okay,
how
well,
they
let's get to that. Let's start talking about the major crimes with the film.
I wrote this several times because sometimes we do it back and forth and we do a little countdown and we talk about, well, what is next? What's next? What's next? We don't have a lot of that. We have like really one giant crime. Now I have
huge.
like 3 giant crimes, but I have one really big one, and then it's got lots of subsets.
There's sub-crimes.
So it's the sexualization of a minor.
Yes.
And that's my big one.
That is the film.
And that's the film. It's from the beginning to the end. It's Brooke Shields is fully nude in this film as an 11-year-old girl. She is used sexually by men 2, 3, 4, even 5 times her age. She is objectified throughout the entire film for her beauty and for her body, not for her thoughts, not for anything other than that. And she is just used and expected to become a sex worker. She is 11 pretending to be 12, and she's growing up in a brothel with the idea that her virginity will eventually be sold, and then she will be sold for a price into marriage. Maybe. It shows her in many sexual situations.
Yeah, there are grown men kissing her neck. Gross.
With her hands on her body, it shows her watching sex acts
Yes.
constantly.
It has her running away naked and like running like you see her like bare behind. I mean, that's just like one nude scene that we have of her. There's like another hard cut where it just cuts to like her like on a fainting couch where she is
Topless.
naked. Like, and you see it. You see everything. And it's like, and that's when I screamed. That's when I screamed because
Yeah.
I was just like, I have absolutely no fucking desire to see that. And I can't believe you didn't warn me that
It
this was about
shows
to
her
happen.
completely nude and places her in overtly sexual situations and sexual positions. Um,
And I mean, it's like her co-star Keith Carradine. It's like they have to kind of like make out stuff. I mean, it's not. It's like kind of partially fake, but not really. I mean, like they kiss. She kisses him on the lips a couple of times in the film, and in like a scene like where he professes like his love for her, admits it or whatever. It's like he's like kissing her all over, and it's just and like then they lay down, and it's implied that they have sex.
yeah.
And so you have this grown man who's got to be like 35 at least.
So he's in real life, he was 27. And I think when the film came out, he was supposed to be 29.
Well, it was the 70s. Everybody looked older back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are it's like they make this 11-year-old kind of like this free sexual spirit in a way who's like totally owning her sexuality and makes her seem independent when she is still just a child with all of these like childlike impulses that eventually wind up pissing off Bellocq, Keith Carradine's character. And it's like the depiction of like this free sexual spirited girl who wants to become a prostitute, who we see naked and nude, who have these older men kind of drooling over her and grabbing her and touching her everywhere. It is just so wrong on so many levels. And the fact that like the Epstein files are a huge thing right now does not make it easier to watch at all.
Well, you could make the argument at the time, and I'm going to tell you that you would be wrong about it leaning towards Lolitaism. That.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
the
sure.
thing is this. Lolita is one of my absolute favorite books. As a movie, it's kind of iffy.
Right.
And that's an argument for another day or possibly another podcast.
Stay
Another
tuned.
episode. The thing with Lolita is this. In the book and in the movie, Humperdinck is fully aware that he's the villain. He is telling his story from his point of view with the understanding that he's the evil guy, that he corrupted an innocent girl. And at the end of his story, even though he likes to fashion it because he's an unreliable narrator about how she seduced him, at the end, he realizes that he corrupted and took away a young girl's innocence. There's none of that here.
No, he makes no realization of anything.
There's no realization. There's no one is taking blame here. No one is saying I am bad, I am evil, I am corrupting this young girl. And no one is doing any of that. They are all equally guilty.
That's the thing too. It's just like they make it seem like because he fell in love allegedly with a 12-year-old that makes it okay.
Love does not make the world go
Like
round.
you
And it
see,
does
the
not
other
make
guys
this
are
okay.
bad because they were paying for it, but he is actually good because he fell in love with a 12-year-old. Like it's just like what? It's so out of control. Like it's like it's so hard to wrap your head around how they seem to try to justify it. I know it's super gross. It's super icky. It's super gross. And the film never seems to judge him for it. Like he never has to pay for it except for her being taken away by her mom in the end, thank God. Because they want to do something crazy. They want to put her in school, you know? And I was like, thank God, please take her away from the situation. But they make it seem like, oh, this is sad that they're being separated. Unless I'm totally like missing. Is that like the feeling that you got from like the message it was sending, or am I just not reading it right?
I just saw him as a stupid little man baby. And the minute that like she was taken away from him, he threw a little fit.
He was a pedophile.
He was a
mean,
pedophile. And he was
yeah.
just like, yeah, we love each other. And I'm like, it's a 12-year-old girl.
He's
She
been
loves
having
that
sex with a
cat.
12-year-old
She
girl.
loves, yeah, that dress. She doesn't love you.
Yeah. I I don't, and the thing that sucks too is that I don't think she knows the difference at the end
No.
either. Like, and it's like there's just no redemption for anybody. I mean, okay, like the one redemptive thing is probably that Susan Sarandon's character comes back for her daughter and says, "We're going to raise you properly now." You know, I mean, the damage is fucking done. The damage is so done. But I mean, her head was kind of like in the right place when she got out of the situation that she was in. And I think like one thing that you can probably take away from this is that it's kind of like this indictment on what women's options were at the time. Right? You didn't have a ton of options. Like, I mean, I'm not saying like the only option was like a brothel or marriage. I mean, maybe it was. I don't know. Like brothels and marriage were probably like the only ways that you had security, because in one situation you can use your sexuality kind of like independently as power and make money from it. On the other hand, you know, you have to kind of probably marry somebody that you're not that into, but at least you'll be financially secure. You know, the options sucked back then for women. And like that's one of the takeaways that I took from it. I was just like, well, you know, in this situation, like what are the other options? And I'm sure that there are other ones, but like if you're in 1917, I think it was New
1970.
Orleans, then and it's World War One too. Then where do you go? Like, what do you do? Like, you know, you can, I guess like there were some women opening businesses, but it was incredibly rare. And you're usually like a seamstress or something like that, you know, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, it like the messaging of the film is that this is kind of like a semi fucked up love story, but at the end they were in love. We maybe should have been rooting for them, and she's sad in the end then when she has to leave him.
It doesn't help that Brooke Shields looked like she was 11.
No, she totally looks like she has the body of a non-developed
Not
11-year-old girl.
girl.
Yeah.
She looked like Blue Lagoon. She was a little older, and that was still bad.
Yeah, the
This
Blue
was
Lagoon was
worse.
still deeply uncomfortable. I mean, even like when I mean, if you go back and listen to our Blue Lagoon episode, folks. But if you listen to that episode, you will know that I was horrified at watching 8-year-olds naked in the ocean. You know, I was like, is this appropriate for a child? Like, is this okay? Like for a child to be photographed this way,
And
and
here
but it's
she's
definitely not for an 11-year-old, because like that is like when you where a lot of girls start to become women, like officially, you know, like by the
yeah.
traditional definition, like when you get your period, right? Like I knew girls like when I was 11 that started like getting their menstrual cycle, and I think like the earliest time I learned about a girl that I knew who had sex was when I was 12. And I thought that was like crazy. I was just like,
Same.
holy shit. I was like, seriously, what is it? I was just like, well, tell me everything. I was like, what is it like? Because I only knew like what I saw in films, but I also knew at the time, wow, that's fucking young, you know?
Yeah,
Because I wasn't seeing people her age do it in movies, which is my reality at the time.
I think I was like 13, and I heard of other 13-year-olds having sex, and I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, my mind was blown. And
Yeah.
of course, that wasn't me. And I was never going to be me. I was going to wait until I was 16, like the way God intended. But
I outlasted all of you. There are movies made about women like me losing their virginity. And they were regular rated R, not X-rated, and they weren't child exploitation films. Anyways.
but like this was just like a little girl, and she
Yeah.
looked like a little girl, and
Yeah.
she was being placed in very adult situations, and it's so highly uncomfortable that if you have like any kind of moral compass, it immediately just starts going like nanas and just starts twirling around, and you're just like, oh my God, my moral compass is completely like off. I need to like stop this movie.
And you have to think, like, I mean, I couldn't help but try to put myself in the shoes of like her mom, right? They've got to like be bringing the mom into like the casting office for like a film like this. They absolutely want Brooke Shields because she's probably like the most beautiful child on the face of the planet at the time. And they had to have known that she was going to be naked and all that stuff. And I don't like, was it because they tried to make it like seem like an art house film that she was like cool with it? Because I think that, I mean, and today is definitely a different time. I'll fully admit that. Like the way people parent is completely different. Kids don't run through the streets all day anymore. Like I get it. So people are like, parents are much more protective, and like this kind of shit would get you put in jail nowadays. But what is going, like, even back then, like, what's going through your head to make you think, yeah, cool. Like, I think it's okay for my 11-year-old daughter to be shown nude, and having grown men kiss on her, even for the sake of art, just seems really disturbing to me. And I mean, thankfully, I'm not aware of that many films like this that were made back then. I mean, I remember like the Last Picture Show being like super like, what? But that was like teenagers, and that's like much more acceptable because we all know that teenagers kind of like, get curious and they have sex and whatever. But this is not that. And it was doing something completely different at the time. And she had to have known that this was not normal. Even like with an art house description kind of like
Yeah.
plastered over it.
And I
I don't
think
know.
in the documentary that Brooke Shields made, also
Called
called
Pretty
Pretty
Baby.
Baby,
Hmm.
she talks about it. And she's talked about this movie several times in her career. Chrissy mentioned before this podcast when we were talking about it that she did an interview with Vanity Fair in 2018.
Yeah.
And then she circles back a couple of years later and does another interview with, I forgot what
I
publication,
think
in
it's Vanity Fair again. I think it was
Vanity
like
Fair
both.
again,
I think it was like one in 2018, one in 2023.
2023, right.
Yeah.
And she changes her mind. And she changes her mind specifically about how her mother dealt with that situation. And she said, you know what? At first she found peace with it. And she said, yeah, at the time I think she said at that time in 2017, she said, it was what we decided was good for my career. And I think at the time she just kind of went with it. And because the cast was so loving, and I've read that several
Hmm.
times, that the cast itself, the women particularly, were very, very, very like giving
Protective.
to each other. They were
Hmm.
very supportive of each other and very much to her because of how young she was.
Hmm.
So they did the best to build a very comforting, very natural, very, very sister like atmosphere on the set for her.
Hmm.
And she was very appreciative of that
Hmm.
because she felt very vulnerable being naked so much.
Yeah, and she was very looked after, and she described it as it feeling like she had a family.
Right.
Hmm.
And then, so I think that kind of skewed it for her, where she made it feel a little bit more okay than what it was.
Right.
And now, with an adult eye, she went back to it in her 50s and took another look at it and realized that what her mother did is that her mother didn't shield her correctly.
Hmm.
And now, then, with the anger of an adult, looked back at the situation and realized that these women on set were doing what her mother should have done.
Hmm. And she also looked back on it, and like I think that like one of the quotes that I have here, let me see. She said, coming out of filming was a real shock to my system, and I remember being on a plane just sobbing. That kind of heartbreak can only happen to an 11-year-old. But then she later said in another, oh, actually, it was a Vogue interview in 2023, sorry, two
Okay.
V's. She said that when her own daughters asked whether she would let them do something similar, her answer was no. And Vanity Fair, she said, looking at my 11-year-old, I would not facilitate it.
Right.
So she would not let her, I mean, but once again, it's like we are looking at two very, very different times of, where people parented very differently. And what permissive was back in the 70s is much different than what's permissive now. But having said that, I mean, this is like a whole other category. It's not like, do you let your kids stay out till 8 or until the streetlights come on? Like, that's not the conversation we're having. Like, we're having a conversation about, would you let your 11-year-old child be filmed naked and groped by grown men for the sake of art? And I don't know if that's like a great answer in any era.
No. It's the
So,
Kardashian school of momagers. It's,
yeah,
you're-
jeez.
oh, we're gonna exploit our children to the best of our abilities in order to get what we need, no
And
matter how bad it is. Like,
and how gross is it that it's like this is like what's great for your career. Like we're just gonna prostitute you out to a filmmaker for this really confusing film about a child prostitute who falls in love with a 30-something-year-old dude. How it's just so it's so materialistic. It's just like, well, like, it's almost, and I hate to say, because once again, I don't know her mom. She's probably lovely. I don't know. But it's just so transactional in the grossest way possible. You know, it's like the lengths that people will go to get fame for their kids.
And I heard also that on the set, Louis Malle was not particularly kind to Brooke Shields. That he was get very angry whenever she got very frustrated or very scared.
That's fucking sucks, man. Yeah, like, I don't understand how, like, I wonder what trajectory her career would have had if her mom had had the realization at this point. What if Brooke Shields like really wanted to do the movie? She's like, no, this is wrong. You being naked in front of a camera and being like held and groped by older men is not okay. That is not good. You need to wait until you're older until that happens, okay? Like, we're going to teach you about, you know, dynamics between men and women and what's okay touch and what's not okay touch and all that stuff. We're going to teach you that now so that you don't go down the wrong path later. But instead, what did we get? We got the fucking Blue Lagoon. You know, we got more of her being exploited at a very young age and sexualized, like even beyond this, you know? Mm-hmm. But was it like Nothing Comes Between Me and My, it's not Jordash's, is it? It's not Levi's.
Jordache was, or is it?
Was it Jordache? I forget
No, it was Calvin's.
Calvin's, Nothing Comes Between Her and Her. Like, it was, and that's when the controversy started. It's like, seriously? Like, it's just so much fuckery all the way around. I don't know. I feel like when I look back at myself, like as a child, I was warned constantly about danger, you know, and strangers and what was appropriate and what wasn't, like by both of my parents, right? So I did kind of like understand like right and wrong and everything growing up, and I just feel like she was deprived of that because she was beautiful and they stood to make like a life-changing amount of money from her.
Man, this was her first kiss in her life.
Ugh, gross.
In the documentary, she talks about how traumatic it was that it was with 27-year-old Keith Carradine.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder what he was thinking too. Like, I mean,
I read an interview with him.
Okay, what did it say?
And he said that he was struggling, you know, he was an actor at the time. And so what he did is that he tried to put his trust in the director and the filmmakers. And he trusted them that they knew what they were doing, but he felt really off about the whole situation.
That's the right reaction, I think. I mean, the most right reaction is not doing it, not taking the role. But I mean, at least he, I guess, understood that it wasn't right. I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for this. Like, I will make excuses for a lot of things, as you guys know. But this one, Oof, ah. Okay. So child exploitation. Yes, yes, yes. I think one of the other problems, speaking of Keith Carradine and his character Bellocq, is that in a world where men are paying for sex from women, he's depicted as like the good guy. And like we're supposed to like sympathize with him a little bit more just because he's not the one paying for it, I guess. The fact that he fell in love with her kind of excuses it. That's at least the message that I think the film was sending.
It's not even subtle. It's like this film is stupid. It's it's just like all the other men in this film are gross. It's just they're like incredibly disgusting to look at.
Well, they're like classic gross, and then Bellocq is like artful gross. It's arthouse gross.
I mean, he's just gross because he's a pedo. Right. And he's just sensibly gross to us because that's gross. The scene where they're bidding on her virginity, and it does like the close-ups of all the men that are bidding on it, and they're all disgusting. And it just shows them, and it's like their big giant like mustaches with foods in it, and like unkept
and they're transfixed by her, and like they bring her out basically on a platter. I mean, I know it's kind of like one of those couch type things that people get curious, like little princess. They're serving her up on a platter with a sparkler.
Yeah.
And I mean, and they're all just like, oh. And like the only inkling that we get that Keith Carradine's character feels uncomfortable with it is with his reaction and the pianist's reaction, right? Like they're both kind of like looking on, just like, I don't know, but they don't do anything to stop it either, right?
No.
because it's just what happened. I mean, the pianist has probably seen this 100 times, right? Like, this is probably just like not a new thing for him, but he still looks a little bit disturbed by it. And then Bellocq is just kind of like staring and like kind of like, I don't know what to do. But it's because he is developing feelings in quotes for her, which we realize a little bit later because the madam calls him out on it.
And they do this in front of her mother.
Yeah. Who's like fine with it. It's like just what happens. Yeah.
And they sell her off, and then they sell her virginity a couple more times.
Yeah, as brothels are wont to do.
Yeah. and then her mom takes off.
Yeah, and this is like what I was talking about with like with the options that women had. It's like the goal of like every one of those women is to like land a consistent client who has a lot of money so that they can leave the brothel and find security in this guy who they may or may not even like, but he represents kind of like a different type of future where they don't have to sell their bodies anymore.
Right.
And those are like the two options for these women, right? It's either like I just continue being a sex worker or I get married to one of these guys just to have the security, right? To just not have the hustle anymore. And I thought that was like a very clear message because she's like, I'm going to send for you. I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back for you, you know?
One of the sins I listed, and it's still under sexualization of a minor, but it's still,
Sure.
still a sin on its own right. It's that the film gives like this almost romantic tone to sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And human trafficking.
Yeah.
It offers you this brothel environment where it's got this soft lighting and nostalgic style and like everything is just kind of like, and it presents it in almost like a colorful, like kind of quirky part of the world. Like, don't you want to hang out with them? Aren't they cool?
No, I don't want to hang out with any of those folks.
And then at the same time, it doesn't. At the same time, it's like, oh, there's also rats there.
Yeah, but she's not scared of the rats, right? It's just like a normal part of New Orleans' existence back then, I guess.
That like the suffering and the power imbalance is very minimalized.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm talking about. It's like just tonally weird.
Yeah,
right?
It's so
like it's playful. It's like trying to be funny at parts. Like Violet is totally kind of like into like living at a brothel and losing her virginity and kind of like graduating to the next step and falling in love with this old guy.
Horrifically abusive relationship, and it's played off for laughs, and they're like everybody's like, "Oh, you,
yeah,
that's
you scallywag."
Yeah, that's just how they are. That's how she is. That's our Hattie.
Yeah.
Just always getting roughed up by gentlemen.
Well, I mean, there's like a lot of instances of roughing up. I mean, Hattie and then like Violet gets slapped around a few times by Susan Sarandon, by her mom, and also by Bellocq too. It's just like you can't root for this at all. Like, I mean, that's like putting it lightly. I mean, there's nothing fucking redeeming about the story that they're trying to tell us or the people in it.
Right.
And I do not fucking understand why they made this movie. Like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, what lesson am I trying to learn? At least like with kids, like kids was disturbing at least, you know? It's like
Kids had a message. There was a clear message in Kids.
Oh, for sure. And it's like, yeah, kids having sex, but it was fucked up. And so, and it justifiably so.
It justifiably so. You loved kids, and you're like, you know, I think that movie had a message, and I got that message. Yeah. This movie doesn't have a message. This movie is trying to make criticism, but it doesn't know the difference between criticism and voyeurism.
Does it know it's making a criticism? I don't even know if it knows it's making a criticism. I see no signs of that. Do you think so?
I want to think it is, but it's too stuck up its own ass to understand the difference between criticism and voyeurism. So it just keeps wandering over to voyeurism.
I don't think it wanders from anywhere. I think it is like firmly stuck in voyeurism. I don't think it is trying to critique shit. I mean, and once again, this is like the weird tone. Once again, it's like, what are you trying to say? And what are you trying to tell me? And I think my interpretation of it, and maybe it's a misread of like what their intentions were. I mean, I don't know. But it just seems like pure voyeurism and pure just kind of like, look at this beautiful child and let's like see her get naked and have sex with older men. which is just nasty. I don't know what critique, like, where's the critique? Like, where do you see the critique?
It's just sometimes it's like when she's by herself and it's just kind of like, and she's emulating how she sees adults, especially like when she's with the other little kids
Mm-hmm.
and what it's doing to her. I feel like that's almost a critique about how the adults act.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's like, is that what we're supposed to do? We're supposed to like watch how we're acting, or we're supposed to like, because she's like a little mimic, or like, I don't know. That's just it, because it doesn't do it well.
Right. I mean, and that's not a dig on Brooke Shields' performance because I
No,
think
no,
that
no. And that's not a dig
she
on her
fucking killed
performance at
it.
all, because
Like,
again,
yeah.
as an 11-year-old girl,
Mm-hmm.
she's doing a remarkable job.
Absolutely incredible. She's great. And
Yeah.
it's like, I just wish that that talent had been transferred to a more appropriate movie, and maybe like waited until she was like 18 or maybe at the very least 17. I don't know, like to start doing this shit. Like, it's just, yeah, I don't know what the film is trying to say to us. I
It
really
feels
don't.
like it's trying to condemn the exploitation of women and this lifestyle and how horrible it is, but at the same time, it lingers on the imagery of like that it's erotic and something sexual and it's something good at the same time. And it's trying to have its cake and eat it too. And in
Maybe.
doing that, it's giving us fucking shitty store-bought cake.
It's really shitty. It's like an Entenmann's raspberry Danish, which
No,
I love. Okay, actually, I love those.
no,
I'm
Entenmann's
not
is
gonna disparage the
amazing.
Entenmann's raspberry
There's no,
Danish.
there will be no
I
Entenmann's
grew up on the
philosophy in
Entenmann.
this
Sorry,
household.
Entenmann's raspberry Danish. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. You're amazing. But it's a shitty.
No.
It's a shitty. Okay, how about this? It's a shitty slice of white cake with white frosting that you find in a plastic container in Ralph's that's been sitting out for like 5 days.
Yes. Yes.
That's better.
It's like
We love you,
they
Entenmann.
meant to sell it in March, but you found it in June.
Oh God, yeah. It is not. It's not high art. It is a
It's
piece
not
of.
high art. It wants to be this thing and it's not.
I think it wants to be high art. I think that's actually like what. I. I don't know. Like,
It
does
wants to,
it? Does
I feel
I
like it
mean?
wants to be so much. Like, it wants to be high art, but it's not high art at all by any stretch of the imagination. Like this wants to be so much and it fails on every level. Like it wants to make a criticism about feminism, it wants to make a criticism about sex work, it wants to make a criticism about exploitation of children, but in doing that it exploits everything that is trying to make a criticism on, and it just fails.
I would maybe agree that it's making a critique of women's place in the world back then. I don't know if it's critiquing much else. And one of the notes that I have right now, like this is like my last sin, which kind of folds under the whole child exploitation thing, is that they're framing the ending as a sad ending. He is like, I can't live without her. Mom takes her away, and now her stepfather is taking a picture of her, and she just looks sad. She doesn't look the same way that she did like when Bellocq was taking a picture of her. She's not into this at all. She's just like got this like far off look, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad that this thing I had ended. And I'm like, what are you fucking trying to say to me right now? I don't understand. Like, I think that they were trying, I'm not giving them any credit here. Like, I think that they were trying to pull off this hat trick by just disguising child exploitation as art, as like high art. And I'm like, I'm not buying it. It sucks. And like, I will forgive a lot in a fucking film. I will forgive a lot. Like, I'm telling you, if you listen to any of our past episodes, you know I'm probably more forgiving.
You were very, very forgiving.
I'm
will give you
extremely
that.
forgiving. I do not fucking forgive this movie.
You know
I
what?
don't.
If you want something really interesting to do one day, look at the trailer of this film because it's very bizarre.
All trailers
how
back in
they
the
look
70s
at
were
this.
weird, but tell me and the audience what the trailer, is it like properly marketed, or is it, or
It's
do they try to
properly
kind of like,
marketed, but what they did is like, because it's like because this movie came out in 1978, so it was playing in 1978 during the time of the sexploitation wave. So again, sexploitation movies, meaning that it was coming out during the time when with all the sex romps and all the, so this movie really kind of set off sexploitation films in a new direction, in that it kind of brought the focus to a lower age in a bad way.
mm-hmm.
But what this film did marketing wise is that it borrowed heavily from themes and marketing tactics from films that were being presented as high art at that time. So there were two kind of trailers at that time. So you had the kind of trailers that were like inner world, like
Yeah, right. We all know the Inner World trailer. We love them.
yeah, like but you had like the kind of that heavy narration that were showing you, but it would like also ruin the movie. It would basically show you the entire film. And then you had the high art films where it wouldn't show you the whole film, but would show you enough clips. But those were the two kind of films. So either your film would fall into one of two categories. Either that you would get a rundown of the entire film, which meant that it was made for the full market, or it would fall into an art film. And this got the art film treatment, but it played at grindhouses.
Really?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So what this film was trying to do is that it was literally trying to get
It was exploiting its own audience.
Yeah. It was trying to get the best of both worlds. It was trying to trick people into thinking it was both an art house film, and it was trying to get this exploitation audience. And it was trying to get it was just grasping at everything it could.
Oh, that's so fucking good. See, that makes me even more grossed out. And that makes me forgive it less. Even though I wasn't very forgiving at the time or ever for this film. But, like, they kind of just knew what they were doing. They knew what they had. Like, sure, okay, we're going to call it an art film, but they knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
right?
And I just want to say that this movie isn't grindhouse. It isn't an art house film. And it exploits women. It exploits Brooke Shields. But it's not what you would call sexploitation in the way that it was a part of that original movement where it was kind of that fun movement. It wasn't
how you could
part
have
of
fun
that
with this film.
cheerleader high movement.
Yeah. I don't know how
You don't have to like that movement, but that's what that was. That was like
Sure.
part of the let's all do the panty raid, like that kind of tongue-in-cheek, stupid, boobies
Yeah.
out,
Oh,
kind
but
of
it's like
immature.
they're
But it
panty
was
rating an 11-year-old, though. I mean, that's just
it was what
disgusting.
it was. It gave forth, porkies and
And look,
sex
we could
rock
find
all the
enjoyment in some of those. Like, we both kind of enjoyed Animal House. Like, we both, like,
Yeah,
forgive Revenge of the
it
Nerds.
gave birth to it was a global event. It gave birth to like the Lemon Popsicle series. It gave birth, it was a worldwide phenomena. And this guy was most likely trying to capitalize on it than he was trying to be part of it.
Yeah. Once again, this is why I don't give it any credit for, like, I'm not legitimizing their intent here. Like, I can't do it. Like, especially in the context of what you just said. Like, I think it just confirms all of our worst fears. So I think it's like a money grab. They're trying to, oh God, they're trying to like use this movement to legitimize this film. Like, even though it features a child. Like, this is a completely different story if you remove Brooke Shields and it's just a story about prostitutes living in the brothel and you focus on Hattie, maybe,
Yeah,
or something like that.
I feel like that would have saved the film for me.
Yeah.
I would have, if you had put the focus more on Hattie and then made Brooke like just more of a side character, that would have been fascinating.
Right. And it's like, and like the thing about the other prostitutes in the film is that they have like this street smart hardness about them. Like, they're hardened by life, which you can see. It's like they're survivors, right? Like, they are women who have some agency, right, over like what they're doing, like with themselves. They kind of like run that place, right? But I mean, they're not under any illusions that this is the great life. But the thing about Brooke Shields' character is like she has this childlike wonder about the world of prostitution, and she's like super excited about joining in on it. And so because the story is about her, it's like that message gets fucking lost. And it's like, because she's the focal point and she's like who we're seeing the world through. And so I don't know if they have the argument that, yeah, this is like a story about feminism or whatever. All I see is a child that has no fucking idea what they're getting themselves into and is having sex with older men and is being sold off and married off to these gross old dudes who are basically pedophiles. So,
The end.
yeah. The end. Okay, do you have any other crimes that you'd like to discuss?
No, I'm tired. I want to go lie down.
No shit. Fair enough, Erin. Well, we always end the episode by asking whether we're going to check or cherish this film. So I got to ask, Erin, What do you want? What do you want to do with this one?
I want to take every copy and launch it into the sun.
It's like the super chuck. Like, just put it on a SpaceX rocket and it'll explode halfway there. You're fine.
I never want to speak of this movie ever again.
I wanted to throw up at several moments at this. I texted Aaron while I was watching it going, I just saw something that makes me want to vomit. And I was not lying. Like, I was sick to my fucking stomach. So yeah, let's load up all the copies of this film and clear the cloud of any traces of it as well. And let's put it onto that SpaceX rocket and let it explode.
Yep.
Gone forever. And I just got to say, like, one thing I do want to say is we have been dogging on this film. And Brooke Shields was such an innocent victim in all of this. I feel so terrible for her that she is a part of this film, even though she seems to have made peace with that.
And she is remarkable in the film.
She's great in it. But the best story is that she came out of all of this bullshit that she went through as a child and a teenager and is one of the most intelligent, eloquent, well-rounded women that you will hear. Like, who is like a celebrity. Like, if you watch Pretty Baby, the documentary on Hulu, which I highly recommend, I am just so impressed with the fact that she is not terminally fucked up from this. And I think it's just a testament to her resilience and her strength. So I want to celebrate that. I want to like take that silver lining from this horrific film going experience.
And I think that's exactly why she named her documentary Pretty Babies, because she took, you know, she's taking the worst part of her life and she's turning it into something beautiful, and she's celebrating her ability to make something more out of what was done to her.
You know what? And I love that she spoke out about it and was brave enough to do that, so that other women who have small children that they want to get into show business, like maybe they can watch this, you know, and take something from it and like learn from this story. Because, I mean, once again, I like the chances of this ever getting greenlit nowadays are like basically zero.
Yeah. Thank God.
Thank God. But at the same time, I mean, exploitation comes in like a lot of different forms now, you know, like with influencing, social influencing, all that stuff. Like there have been documentaries made about that as well, about parents abusing their kids and putting them in situations that they should not be in. So I hope that people watch that, if only to celebrate the fact that she came out of this alive. But also I love that she is kind of like spreading the word about her experience so that other parents can learn from it too. The end. The end. We're exhausted. We don't want to think about this fucking movie anymore. I think I need to go watch Back to the Future or something. I need something to just kind of like exercise the memory of this film for my brain. So
I'm going to go watch Gilmore Girls for like 9 hours.
Actually, you know what? You should go watch Sallow.
Yeah.
Because you didn't think it was nearly as disturbing as that.
I'm going to jump between Sallow and episodes of Gilmore Girls.
That's like a visual version of electroshock therapy.
One day I'm going to be saying that I'm going to be telling that this exact line to a therapist.
We have different forms of therapy. Do whatever works for you.
Will do.
All right. Well, stay tuned for next week. Thank you for listening, and never watch this film.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.